Welcome to the Week in Focus that comes to you on every Sunday, 9 p.m. right here on Lookup Weekend. My name is John Matava. And of course, focusing on the issues that happened throughout the week. Top among them are the raging floods in the country. And with me in studio tonight, a very interesting gentleman just seated on my left. He is CPA David Onea, who happens to be a youth inclusion advocate. And seated on my right is Barrister Agumba Kilimaniwan, a youth leader as well. We'll be talking matters on the floods and the mitigation measures the government has been able to put so far, with the numbers still continuing to rise. Just to give some facts, at least 11 bodies have been collected from separate scenes in the country following the heavy rains. The death toll now stands at 83, rather more than 90 people since the start of April rains. But there is a fear numbers could continue rising as the rains continue to pound. This is due to the fact that there are many bodies are still missing, and of course after being swept by the raging floods in different parts of the country. According to the government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura, Nairobi has been badly affected, with 32 people being confirmed dead in Nairobi, and more than 16,909 households have been displaced. And of course tonight, let me just introduce my panelist. David, many thanks for making time for this.
Thank you so much for having me. Though it's not the best time because of the floods, but nevertheless we thank God. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. John. I want to say that I'm grateful for inviting us here. Secondly, I want to send my sincere condolences to the family who have lost their families, yes, or relatives, rather friends, in this crisis. And again, I want to say sorry to the people who have lost property and so many other things.
Great.
I'm great.
Thank you so much for that. And of course, we understand, especially most parts of Nairobi have been affected, and are meant to understand. You guys coming in maybe had some traffic issues all about the floods. Yeah, first things first, how do we go about the current ongoing floods in the country? As much as our leaders, President William RUTO, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, saying they've set aside like 4 billion Kenyan shillings to mitigate the issues. From where you sit, David, what's the current situation as per the government? Is something being done?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, the current situation outside is really deteriorating based on the figures of fatalities that has been recorded. Yeah. And which continue to increase based on the increasing rainfall. Yeah. And from your question, we've seen before, promises were made before in terms of like coming up with the check dams that were some of the structural projects that were being meant to mitigate some of the calamities like floods that we are experiencing right now, but we realized that that wasn't done. And currently, the situation that most Kenyans are witnessing right now is really very, very bad. So you find that for a crisis that we are experiencing right now, we always have the Mitigation Adaptation Fund, which it's always meant to ensure preventive measures for calamities like flood, whereas a situation has come whereby it's now being used to contain the situation. So you find that the government itself, there is someone that is sleeping on its work. Because the same calamities that we've experienced before, like in the 90s, there was downpour which was witnessed that was had more fatalities like this one, and with advanced mechanism that we have to date, we are still experiencing that. To date, there are still more cases of fatalities, depending with the advancement that has been made.
Yeah.
So we just urge the government to walk the talk and ensure that all measures that are necessary be made to ensure continuity of activities and events even after aftermath of the floods.
Crisis, yeah. Great. Now, just to give an update on the current figures, what we have, 11 more bodies have been collected from separate scenes in the country following the heavy rains, and the death toll now stands at more than 90 people since the start of the April rains. But there is a fear that the numbers continue to rise, this due to many bodies that are still missing after being swept by the raging waters. And just according to Isaac Maura, the government spokesperson, Nairobi has been badly affected, with 32 people so far being confirmed dead and another number that is not yet confirmed of being missing. And of course, now the households that have been swept away now stand at 16,909. And of course, according to the Met Department, the rainfall is expected to continue over several parts of the country, and the heavy rains events are likely to occur in some parts of the Highlands East, as per the Kenya Met Department. They're expected in the Rift Valley, the Lake Victoria Basin, the Rift Valley, the southeastern lowlands, the coast, the northwestern and the northeastern coast of Kenya, and of course the Nairobi metropolitan, that is the Machakos counties, the Kajiado counties, and of course the surrounding counties of Kiambu and Nakuru. That is of course due to the ongoing floods in the country. With so far 11 bodies still being collected, that is in Nairobi, and of course the numbers are still rising and in different parts of the country, not forgetting the recent incident in Musui River at Makueni County, where 10 people cannot be accounted for after they were swept away by the raging floods. And our Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua continues to say people should not dare nature, that is, and of course right in the discussion we'll be talking much more. Is it the ignorance that people have, having been warned about the floods, they continue to dare the waters that are now subjecting to numbers rising of the dead? And of course with my Hebo panelist we'll be talking much on what the government has been able to continue. Now, coming to you, Barrister Agumba, from where you sit, I was looking at your profile, and then you want to be a leader in the coming years. And with the controversies in Nairobi, most of the residents actually say the floods zimeletwa na Sakaja. And from where you sit, how do you intend maybe to work on that mitigation measure in the future?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. John. According to my opinion, me first thing, I think government, from the national government all the way to the county government, I think our government is lacking something, and here today I want to either pose for them a suggestion or a question. You know, in Kenya we have different departments or different ministries, like education ministry, health ministry, financial ministry. And I think the government on the issue of these disasters, crises, calamities, floods, from since our country got independent, I think our government, they should create what we call a disaster management.
You just mentioned something, and then the opposition the other day, they said, they told the Kenya Kwanza government that they should plan to have a proposal, or rather they should declare the current floods a national disaster. What do you think?
That's why I'm bringing the issue of we create. The first thing the government should do is create, as we speak, or moving forward, they should create a department or a ministry called disaster management. Because always all these crises or disaster, when they come, everyone is caught like they are unaware. From our city, the citizens of the country, the government, everybody looks confused. The government no one is held responsible. You look, the citizens are asking the government for help. The government is running to the Red Cross. The Red Cross, is not even the, is not even in the side or the sector of taking care or taking responsibility of such things.
Yes.
Looking way back from 1963, 1964, when Kenya got independent, we have had these cases coming to 1968. 1970 something, 1998 to even the recent one. Even last year we had the flood.
Yes.
This year we are experiencing a very heavy one, which we are getting those sad state or sad news of us people losing families and everybody, there is nobody to be held responsible. Like the whole country is confused. So I think the first thing, the government should create a department, a disaster management department. Whatever the opposition people were suggesting, that as we speak, our government should have declare. It is already a disaster, whatever they were suggesting. And I think, like the other day, the government was saying that they set aside or they allocated a certain amount of fund from last year. I don't know where the fund was allocated to, which department was
Great,
the fund.
and that's why I'll be coming to David just to give us a breakdown. The government says they've given the 4 billion. Maybe David, talk to us about how is it being rolled to the counties, because we've seen, in as much as they say it on TV, then they could give the food, non-food items, but they are the common mwananchi in the ground who doesn't even know what is really happening. How would we get to that?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, actually, this crisis of flood has really exposed a lot to do with the leadership that we have.
Yes.
And more so, you find that from my perspective, the budget that should be used to mitigate this situation, you find that you find that anytime there is that budget from the controller of budget, the budget itself, they usually formulate it from the national level.
Yes.
So you find that there are so many areas in the country whereby those that are managing the disaster, they don't know the exact situation based on the review of the locality.
Yes.
So like I'm suggesting a situation whereby in the coming days, based on those that will be mandated to see on the advancement that should be made, the budget should originate from the grassroots, whereby the projected budget, like my area, I come from Nyando constituency, which has always been affected with the flood.
What's the current situation right now?
Actually, the current situation there is very, very unbearable. Even at the moment.
How did you manage to come to set?
Yeah, the current situation there, the good thing from my area, this is not the first time we are experiencing it. Though the crisis that we are experiencing right now, most areas have never experienced such huge rainfall. But my area, we've experienced such calamities before, and I can only say that there is some vacuum in leadership based on the roads there right now are impassable.
Yes.
You find that if you conduct a research on how those roads were constructed, a tarmac is just on the red soil. That shows you how those that were doing the job didn't do it in accordance with how a good road, the standard of a good road should be. So you find that right now most roads have been swept, and also like my area, you see most traders right now are really facing serious closure.
Yeah. You just mentioned something to do with it is a situation that has been on the repeat. And then we have seen some instance where the government is advising people to relocate to maybe higher grounds. So like we have been evacuated. We've been told to vacate our place. And then after the floods have ended, we are going to get back our land. Or how exactly does it happen?
Yeah, like the idea of, like you see, what we are experiencing right now, warnings had already been given before. But I can say there is also a problem now. The communication was made because you find that people were told to evacuate places that were prone to floods. And you find that, you see, when telling someone to evacuate, you should give him an alternative.
Where to go? Sure.
Where to go. If you tell someone to evacuate and you don't give him alternative, there is chances that he will still be there. Or maybe there are some people that were told to go. Most of people who are staying on riparian land, most were told to evacuate, but some you find that in the informal settlements, they came back.
Because they don't have land or even
they don't have alternatives. So you find that the government itself should just work with the reality.
Great.
And also right now most people are really facing economic crisis. And such crisis usually really shakes most families in terms of stabilizing. And also, like you see, from my perspective, the government, we see, had plans on preventive measures. But now I'm seeing things they never prepared for the aftermath.
Great, we'll be coming to that. Now, Barrister Gumba, the Transport Cabinet Secretary, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, is being faulted with the raging floods that we've seen, places like the, call it the expressway, and then getting flooded. And then we have another instance from JKIA having some leaking roof. From where you sit, do you think faulting the Cabinet Secretary for Transport could really make an impact?
Thank you, Mr. John. I think every Kenyans, they have a right to question people who have been given the mandate to take responsibility. I think since the Cabinet Minister, Mr. Kipchumba Murkomen, or His Excellency Kipchumba Murkomen was appointed as a Minister for Roads and Transport. It is now 2 years ago. And 2 years down the line. And if there are such cases, we are seeing that in JKA, waters are passing through every corner. On expressway, there are so many issues. You know, people must question them. They must be held responsible, and they must also come out to explain to the people what is happening. This is what they behave like coaches, the coaches of football teams, where you lose today, then they are like, you keep giving people fake hopes, like tomorrow we'll do better, we tried this. No, people don't want to listen to that. I think Kenyans have a right to question them and to hold them responsible. They should be moving with the speed, not like we will work on them, or when they are criticized, they come out to defend themselves. You should be defending yourself by working on whatever you have been criticized on. You should be fixing that the problem. Not you defend yourself without fixing. He is responsible, I guess so.
Oh, great. Just before coming to you, David, Barrister Gumba, I mean, the government wants those residing in waterways to actually evacuate. And we've seen some of the companies actually blocking the waterways and actually building their companies on the same. And then the government comes here and says that they are ignorant. They shouldn't have built the houses and the companies on waterways. But in as much as the economy is concerned, do we have to destroy such expensive buildings to have the waterways back?
Mr. John, you know, it is very funny how the government goes ahead to call people that they are ignorant because of maybe building or erecting buildings on riparian lands or riverbanks.
You're supporting it?
No, I'm not supporting it, John. Because one, you know, we have an act, urban planning, physical urban planning act, which was introduced in 1996,
yes,
which was stating clearly where buildings,
yep,
should be erected, which area, and which region should be accommodating which kind of building.
Yep.
It means, and it is the same government which approves a building or a construction of any kind of building anywhere in the country.
Yep.
Because we have an organization which deals with that. So, you know, you can't be, I can't come here and start building here. You know, there are a group who will be saying, oh, here you should not be building a building here, you should not be constructing this there. So, you know, it is the government which I think, or who are ignorant, not the people who have built that.
Thank you so much on that. Coming to you, CPA David, we've seen some leaders, including Eugene Wamalwa, saying that the schools reopening that is set to be reopened tomorrow, they should be postponed due to the raging floods in a mid to curb maybe some possible cases of children getting flown away by the waters. What are your take on that?
Yeah, thank you so much. My take on that, I can also propose the postponement of the reopening of schools based on some of the things we've witnessed on the screen, newspapers, and some also we've seen within our neighboring. Because we find that though postponement has consequences, because we have a gazetted calendar.
And a curriculum, sure.
And a curriculum. But now what can lead to the postponement is that you find that there are some parts in the country whereby facilities have submerged based on floods. Unapata shule, as a school setup, you find that even the toilet itself is flooded, is not usable. So you find that some of those things are making it hard for the young people to resume tomorrow. And
are you saying maybe the Education Cabinet Secretary should do something on the same?
Yeah, the